Last week, I unboxed and installed the new Hansshow 9-inch dashboard touchscreen in my 2018 Model 3. Today I will cover setting up and using the screen, and then my final opinion on it after testing. Here is how the screen looks like next to the Tesla display. It does have a different white balance. Whether that bothers you or not is probably personal preference, though I wish it was closer to the look of the built-in screen. The typeface on the display is also different than what Tesla uses. The default startup screen is the instrument panel. Touching the right side of the screen does not bring up the menu like mentioned in the manual. To get to the other screens, you need to flick the screen from the right edge towards the center like this. You can flick it in the opposite direction to make it go away. It will disappear in a few seconds anyway. This is called the navigation bar. On the top is the instrument panel, which is the main screen by default. Next is the smartphone screen projection interface, which for North America is Apple Carplay and Android Auto. And on the bottom is the settings menu interface. This is where you do the initial device setup, but you will come back here to change some things every once in a while. Choose your car, the Model 3 or Model Y. Choose your preferred temperature unit, Celsius or Fahrenheit. I will cover Phone Connect in a later section. Mode affects the screen brightness, and I'll also cover that later. Choose the color of your car from the standard paint choices. I chose gray for my car. Brightness can be set to auto or manual. I'll show you how to do manual in a little bit. I recommend using steering wheel control, otherwise it is touchscreen only. Choose your time format, 12-hour, which shows AM and PM, or 24-hour, also known as military time. I use 12. Choose your time zone. This is listed as hours plus or minus Greenwich Mean Time. Mine is US East Coast, which is -4. Pressing the device button brings up a window that displays the hardware version, Bluetooth, and a bunch of other item version info, and the serial number on the bottom. Here I'm going to cover the modes. For the instrument panel, the day versus night is different. Auto will switch depending on the light sensor. The day mode has a white background. All of the elements of the screen are the same between these two modes. And now I'll go into the settings menu and change it to auto, which in this case is night mode. Night mode has a graduated blue background instead of white. For CarPlay and Android Auto, the effect is gradual. Day versus night doesn't do a light or dark mode, just a lower brightness during night mode. For example, pulling into my garage, the screen gradually dims. It works pretty well. Next, I'll show you some of the menu shortcuts. For the navigation bar, I showed that in the beginning. Touching the right side of the screen doesn't do anything. You have to flick the screen from the right edge towards the center to bring up the navigation bar. This works in any screen mode: Instrument, CarPlay, Android Auto, and Settings. For the brightness shortcut, on the right side of the screen, flick your finger up and to the right. This brings up the brightness menu. You can then press the right side of the screen up and down to increase or lower the brightness. This only works if brightness is set to manual in the settings. Otherwise, you will get this message, brightness setting manual, which should say set brightness setting to manual to adjust. The last shortcut is volume. On the left side of the screen, flick your finger up and to the left. This brings up the volume adjustment. On the left side of the screen, move your finger up to increase the volume or down to decrease the volume. Sometimes you can get these shortcuts to work just by pressing your finger on the left part of the screen and moving up and down. Back to the instrument panel, you can change the center part of the screen with 4 different views. The default is the rear car view, which can show the brake lights when activated. Next is the car following distance when you are using adaptive cruise control or autopilot. You can change it from 1 to 7. Next is the overhead door view, which will show the car and will open the door on the screen when you open the car's door. The frunk and trunk will also show if they are open. Finally, there is the tire pressure monitoring view. This shows the car and all 4 tire pressure settings. You can change it from bar to PSI by pressing that area of the screen. Flick one more time and you are back to the original rear car view. Now I want to talk about the parts of the instrument panel. The battery pack range in percent and miles remaining are shown in these 2 circles. Along the bottom, we have the time, the drive gear, and the outside temperature. Speed in miles per hour is shown digitally in the center and also in the left speedometer gauge. The number with a circle around it is the posted speed limit for the area. The power and charge gauge on the right will show how much energy is coming out of the battery pack and going back into it due to regen. Also in this gauge is the current trip meter. This resets every time you go in or out of park. And below that is the odometer. At the top of the screen is a line of grayed out indicator lights. From left to right, they are front fog lights, left turn signal, low beam headlights, parking lights, high beam headlights, right turn signal, seatbelt warning, and hold mode. I'll now show the indicator lights as they are being used. Left turn signal, right turn signal, low beam headlights, high beam headlights, hold mode, and seatbelt warning. And for the gear selector, we have park, neutral, reverse, and back to park. Sorry, I forgot about drive. To start Apple CarPlay, go into the settings screen and look for Phone Connect. I'm going to turn on CarPlay in full screen mode. Press the Phone Connect button and choose full screen, and then press confirm. The device restarts, and in a few seconds, you'll see the startup screen. This smartphone connection guide shows up, and we just did step 1. Now for step 2, we go to the iPhone. Under settings, press Bluetooth. Look for BT Link under Other Devices and press it. A Bluetooth pairing request comes up. Press pair. You don't need the 6-digit number. Next, it asks you if you want to sync your contacts and favorites. After a few seconds, it is done pairing and it asks you to use CarPlay. Press that button. Now BT Link shows up and it is now connected to the phone. And we can go back to the dash screen. This initial connection may take a few seconds. Subsequent connections to the phone will be faster. The first thing we see is Google Maps on the screen. The left side bar includes the last 3 apps used, the phone's battery meter, and an icon with a square and 3 lines on the bottom left. Press this and it brings you to the main menu. During this part, I will be touching the screen to show you how it works. Later, I will show you how to do this with the steering wheel buttons. If you swipe across the screen, there are 3 pages of icons. These are all apps that are compatible with CarPlay on your phone. PlugShare is a good app that lists local charging options in your area. SiriusXM streaming music, which isn't offered by Tesla, is a popular satellite radio and streaming platform. Waze is a Google Maps alternative, which is actually owned by Google, and it has some nice features. Click on Settings, which allows you to make changes to CarPlay. A Better Route Planner is a good trip planner that you can customize very well. It's an alternative to the Tesla navigation, and it's good to use both together for even more options. Let's go back into the settings screen and change it to normal, which is partial screen Apple CarPlay. The dash screen will reset and start up again. And now it comes up. The smaller instrument panel is on the right side, and about 2/3 of the screen is for Apple CarPlay on the left side. It works the same as the full screen mode. And that's it for Apple CarPlay. For Android Auto, we will go back to the settings screen and change Phone Connect from Apple CarPlay to Android Auto. I will try the full screen option first. The device will restart. And now the system is trying to connect to your phone. This guide will give you the steps needed for this process. On the Android device, use a Bluetooth search and connect to the BD Link device. Press pair, and when that's complete, it is now active. Open the Android Auto app on the device and it will connect automatically. Press continue on the dash screen. And now Android Auto is active on the Hansshow touchscreen. It started out in Google Maps. Exiting that app, you will see a grid of icons, which includes the apps from your phone that work with Android Auto. Scroll down the list, and you can go into Settings to make any changes to Android Auto. You can go into the Customize Launcher to turn on or off items you want to see in Android Auto in the car. This is done on the phone. Let's go back into the settings screen and change it to normal, which is the partial screen Android Auto. After you make the selection, the device will restart. Just like in Apple CarPlay, we have a smaller instrument panel on the right side, and about 2/3 of the screen on the left is Android Auto. It works the same as the full screen mode. And that's it for Android Auto. Now I'm going to show you the steering wheel controls using the left and right scroll wheels. Scroll down to move the cursor right in Android Auto. Scroll up on the right button to move the cursor left. Press right on the right button to select or enter. And press left on the right button to go back or return to the previous menu. Using the left button, press it to pause or play music. Press the left button left to go to the previous track. Scroll up on the left button to increase volume. and scroll down to decrease volume. Press the left button right to go to the next track. Press the right button to initiate the Tesla voice command. I want to show you how to use the buttons to go from Apple CarPlay or Android Auto back to the instrument panel screen. Do a long left press on the right button. That will exit the CarPlay Android Auto mode. Now you can use the right button to scroll up and down to switch back and forth, like so. Scroll back into CarPlay and press the right button right, and you gain cursor control again. Now when you scroll up, the cursor moves left, and when you scroll down, the cursor moves right. And this is how you connect to the car's Bluetooth. Go into Bluetooth settings, scroll up on the left-hand side, and press Add New Device. Press Start Search. BT Tesla will now show up. Press it to add. Make sure to press the priority device so that it will connect first. It now shows up in the Bluetooth settings menu on the left. Go back to the media menu and press BT Tesla and it will now connect. Here's a comparison of the built-in speaker and the car speakers. Honestly, the airflow in my Model 3 hasn't been as directional as it should be. So with this dash screen, it really hasn't affected me much. I did play around with the vent settings and found that using the split pattern and aiming up seems to work for me. As personal preference, your mileage may vary in how this affects you. The smaller size of the screen should block less air than the previous version did. After having this dash screen for a week, I have really enjoyed using it. It provides a lot of what people are missing in the Model 3 and why, a driver instrument panel. Speed and other info is directly in front of the driver. If the Model S and X can have it, why not the Model 3 and Y? Another advantage is that if the Tesla main display ever breaks or has an issue, you will still be able to control the car and have important information available to you right here. Second, I miss having information like the tire pressure visible. Also, you can have both the battery pack percentage and miles remaining at the same time. Just the instrument panel alone is reason enough to add this to your car. But add the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, you now have two major media interfaces that are missing on the Tesla vehicles. You can use the screen in three ways: instrument panel, full screen CarPlay or Android Auto, or instrument panel with partial CarPlay and Android Auto. Having the ability to show apps like SiriusXM and stream music and have the info displayed right in front of you is great. Also, on trips, getting to use Waze or a better route planner on this screen allows you to use the Tesla main screen for other activities. Overall, I think this adds a lot of functionality. Now that it is a second generation product, the hardware is better, and the screen has higher resolution for its size, and the bezels are smaller. The footprint of the device is smaller too, and less of an issue with blocking vents. It seems to be very solid software-wise. The only major bug I notice is that the tire pressure resets to bar from PSI every time I start the car. Otherwise, it has been pretty good. I hopefully expect some firmware updates at some point to fix any issues or add new features. I would definitely connect it to the car via Bluetooth since the internal speaker is not very good. If you are interested in this device, the link is in the video description. Please use the code RANGER for 15% off this and other items on the Hansshow website. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.